Hello, everyone. Today is Monday, March 14th, 2022 at 3:51 a.m. See, I knew it. Um, I dozed off yesterday afternoon and didn't realize it. It was like, I guess it was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I woke up at 7:30. So now, I try to go to bed at 1:30 or 2:30, and it's been just laying here and still can't fall asleep. So I knew that was gonna happen. So now I'm feeling the sleep deprived feeling. I look the same way I did a few hours ago. So I mean, I look the same way I did a few hours ago, but I don't feel like turning on a light. But as long as y'all can hear me, that's fine. So I'm it's a nice bit warmer than it was 24 hours ago, but still cold. And then it's supposed to get a little warmer again. So um it, I mean, within the past 20 to 30 minutes, they were vibrating me again and vibrating my organs and stuff like that. And so I don't realize, trying to figure out how how are they able to keep you sleep deprived by, vibrating your body if you try to go to sleep. And so I cannot go to sleep. So I'm sorry if I'm mentally off and slow right now. But I really cannot sleep at the moment. And so well, I was thinking that the reason I think that a lot of employers, they contact, I mean, if you're trying to look for a job, they contact your previous employers, and of course, bad references from previous employers, um due to the gang stalking and smear campaigns and stuff. I think that's probably one of the reasons why employers keep rejecting me. If not that, then I guess they want to say that, well, you don't have enough recent job experience. But anyhow, I'm feeling highly discouraged and frustrated, and like I just done, like I give up. And the same thing with housing. But it makes me angry that, random strangers on the internet, they, as I said, they try to just guess and make false assumptions and try to fill in a blank and try to make it like, well, you were a bad tenant that never paid your rent, so that's why you're homeless. And I'm like, well, shows how ignorant you are. Or they just make all these assumptions on why you deserve to be homeless or why you deserve to be unemployed. Or they might fill in the blanks and make false assumptions that, well, you must have been stealing from your employer. That's why you're blacklisted, or this blacklist doesn't exist, or tell me what is this blacklist you're talking about that I never heard of and stuff. So just because you never heard of it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. If you want to make it like as if you know there's no such thing as an employment blacklist. Just because you never heard of it doesn't mean that there's no such thing. But you know, or people will assume that, oh well, you burned your bridges from all your loved ones, or you burned your bridges from all your family, and you just falsely assumed that my family cared about me and tried to help. But you just know nothing about me. So you know, they just want to fill in the blanks and have their own imagination, and like they think that they know what you're suffering through. But it's like they think they know it all, but they're just guessing and assuming, and they assume and guess incorrectly. But even though it's not true, it's offensive and make you feel ashamed, even though you're innocent. So, I'm feeling like depressed and hopeless, and like my daily living activities, like showering and brushing my teeth and stuff, I've been just like too depressed, and then laying here all day, and then always feeling too exhausted to do anything. And it's like, well, if I've been laying in here doing not much physical activity, and then feel worn down and worn out and tired with little to no physical energy, as the same kind of tired as if I worked a 12-hour shift nonstop. you know so I mean, but it's really hard living day to day, and feeling scared about tomorrow. I mean, even though I know the Bible says take no thought for tomorrow, but and I have a problem with living in constant fear. And you know, I mean, if it weren't for this kind of area that I'm in, that's one of the reasons why I don't go out, because this is like a bad area. So if I can avoid it, I try to avoid going out. Even during the day, it seems scary, and you never know who's gonna do what. So there was something. Oh yeah, I think I remember. I mean, no, there was something I wanted to talk about or mention, but it slipped my mind. Oh, now I remember. I remember. Um, if I would have, I mean, I knew about myself being targeted in 2017 and 18, and probably even before then. Yes, before then. But When I was homeless living on the streets in New Orleans, I didn't realize there was a community to connect with other TIs. And I mean, I'm thinking about like after dealing with um, ending up homeless in my own hometown, New Orleans and stuff. Um, it didn't cross my mind to at that moment to go to social media and beg for help to stay in that motel in Gretna to stay off the streets. Um, but it wasn't until 2020 after Alex ran me out of Pensacola, and I ended up in Mobile, Alabama. And then after that, dealing with all those back-to-back hurricanes, and then winter weather is you know why I had to keep asking for help to stay in a hotel or a motel room, and I couldn't even find a permanent place to live. And so I'm wondering, I may not have had to been banned from so many places, or maybe I could have if I would have, it didn't cross my mind to think then, because I guess I wasn't using YouTube as much. Um, I mean, because off and on I would use YouTube occasionally, but then once I found out about that, I mean, I knew about targeted individuals and gang stalking. The earliest I've heard about it was probably 2012 or 2013. No, 2011 or 2012, I meant to say. After finding out about the Illuminati and New World Order and all that. I think it was 2011 or 2012 was when I first heard about targeted, because I had a Twitter then, and I heard about targeted individuals and gang stalking. But a lot of them were new age fake truthers who huddled together and all had me blocked and didn't want to associate with me for no reason. Or they would respond to everybody except me and single me out and ignore me and stuff. So I do remember reading that website called areyoutargeted.com back in like 2012 and it's or 2013, and it's like I started to think, well, some of these sound like what I'm going through. Or I felt like, well, let me stop reading before I become a target individual. But then I didn't realize I was already one. So then later on I heard that areyoutargeted.com is now called zerzaton.org or something. And that website is the same, website or something, but just changed name. But I heard that that's a fake TI disinfo website, in which I've concluded that myself. But, I remember in 2011, 2012, I would be on Twitter and see a lot of people talking about targeted individuals and gang stalking. And then they were talking about indigo children and stuff like that. But the indigo child is new age. And I heard that they're new age fake narcs, pretending to be decent and good people. But it's like I got suckered into that briefly, until I woke up to more truth. I didn't realize I was on the wrong path of fake truth, but I had was seeing like a lot of the symptoms of the quote unquote, in which I don't agree with that anymore. But I had the for a brief moment I did, just like the for a brief moment I was advocating raw veganism and stuff like that, and I didn't realize that was new age, so I turned away from it. But but I have a lot of the doggone symptoms of what the new agers want to call an indigo child, or you know, but nowadays, you wouldn't catch me calling myself an indigo child or star seed, light worker, and all that. So I stay away. I avoid that like the plague now. But that's like a new age perverted version of you know, Christians calling themselves saved. That's like a new age fake spin on it, pretty much. But um, so I mean, I kept on getting discouraged because I was just diligently researching and you know trying to find answers, to the truth, and just kept on researching. And I would get discouraged when I would find conflicting information when people act like they're speaking against the New World Order. But I'm wondering if they're speaking against this symbolism, but then you use the very same symbolism that you want to claim to speak against. And that had me confused and discouraged. But now, I mean, now I'm on the right path and a narrow path to the truth. And I'm on the right path and a narrow path to the truth. And so I don't want my mind to be tainted or derailed from the truth. I just want to stay on the same path, even though I know I'm not perfect, and I never profess to be perfect. And so I worked a little bit on that blog post talking about, but I haven't published it yet because I'm not done. I kind of somewhat just started. I actually started 2 nights ago, but then I worked on it a little bit yesterday. But I feel like I need to be well rested in order to work on, to be able to process my thoughts better on why I do not feel like I'm a chosen one. Because that's the big topic nowadays. Everybody wants to narcissistically glorify themselves as chosen ones. And then make like they avoid me because I'm so toxic. And they want to protect their anointing from me or protect their energy from me. And it's like, well, you just wake up one day out of nowhere and just decide that I'm a toxic person. But then the way you have treated me, using the Bible to play all kinds of psychological and mental games, and act like a narcissistic, control freak, fake TI perp. And so I mean, I'm just, you know, but anyway, it's like, I mean, I think that if I would have had a support from a community of people in 2017 or 2018, I figured that if I would have had enough supportive people, then I think that probably could have prevented me from ending up homeless. But then again, the neighbors were dangerous enough that they would have had me seriously injured or murdered. And it was very scary having nobody to turn to or no support. And, you know, trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together, because I even look back at my old research files, and even 2015, 16, 17, I didn't realize I was even then researching about targeted individuals and gang stalking and cults, because every time I research about my body vibrating and trying to figure out why is my body vibrating, and then I didn't understand, couldn't connect them and put them together about, I mean, I'm wondering why when I research about organs vibrating or whole body vibrating or feet vibrating, and then what kept coming up was gang stalking and cults. So, one thing, a couple of days ago, I Google searched the phrase, reprobate sociopath. And in one of the search results, the topic of gang stalking come up in one of the search results. So that tells you something. That how is it I researched, I Google search reprobate sociopath, and then the topic of a website, with the topic of gang stalking comes up. So that tells you something. So anyway, I wonder what would have been the turnout if in 2017 or 18, if I would have turned to social media to ask for help, and if I would have turned to social media and asked for help, or like a GoFundMe or PayPal or something like that. I didn't even know about Cash App, but say if I would have got support and I could have had help in the motel room, but I mean, because it's like, in a way, it was like both voluntary and involuntary, because being tortured so much, it's like why I felt like I had no choice but to give up my place. And it's like, well, it looks like I'm gonna have to end up homeless, because I couldn't tolerate the torturous vibrating, and then dealing with neighbors threatening me and landlords being abusive. And they knew what they were doing. Even at 80, 82, and 83 years old, they were still, the narcissistic landlords, the narcissistic perp landlords, playing all kinds of psychological games. And, so if Mr. Larry Fuselier from New Orleans, if he was an 82-year-old narcissistic perp, and then his wife Fran, also a narcissistic perp, and they were abusive and mean since day one. And then I moved to Gretna, and dealing with those narcissistic scam perp ladies also. They were two sisters. I forgot their names off the top of my head. But I lasted a month at my very last so-called permanent residence, but I would have loved to get to stay there. But I had, it's like all the neighbors around me were perps, but I did not realize at the time. Um, and then having a permanent place to live, they will vibrate my body from Thursday night to Sunday night, and then I would get my peace finally on Monday through Wednesday, Monday night through Wednesday night, and everything, the vibrating and electronic torture would intensify after 11 p.m. But some people say that that's why a target should keep moving, because they try to say if a TI keeps moving, then I heard that it's dangerous to your health and kill you off faster if you in the same stationary spot with with the electronic weapons all the time. But I don't know. I mean, but it's like being attacked and tortured with the electronic weapons made a lot of targets homeless, or if the family members who they're living with is purging them so bad it's unbearable, or if they feel like have to flee for their safety because their family is a threat to them. If their family, put their life in danger. So, I mean, so I wasn't even much. I mean, I was definitely not on any social media in 2000. I mean, I've had this YouTube account since, like, I don't know, a few years ago, but I have one of my other channels. I've been having that since like 2006, I think. But I mean, it's like I wasn't even active on YouTube or any social media back in 2017 and 18. But in 2019, it was right after New Year's, and I was in that Marquette hostel in New Orleans, and I ended up being, you know, I guess I was bored, and then stumbled upon, some YouTube videos, and they had Surviving R. Kelly, and so I've been hearing a lot about that. It was at the beginning of 2019, and then I ended up hearing about celebrities being dead cloned horse face trannies. You know, dead cloned horse face transgender, and and hearing about people, celebrities being cloned and stuff, and then I hear about and then I hear about this disturbing thing about human meat and food, or us cannibalizing without our consent, and YouTube condones and allows cannibalism videos. And like, you think it's it's like you glamorize and glorify it as a good thing. And then, I also heard about, for the first time in 2019, I heard about adrenochrome, and and why celebrities will have like black eye syndrome or something. Adrenochrome. And so and it was that was making me depressed and discouraged. And it's like, what the hell are we supposed to eat? And so then I re-stumbled upon again, researching narcissistic abuse led me back to stumbling upon targeted individuals and gang stalking. And then Janine Triumphant Individual, one of her videos was what gave me the green light to have my final confirmation. Because I was even watching some gang stalking videos in 2016, 17, or whatever. And or people talking about being a targeted individual and a victim of MK Ultra and human trafficking, and they had people like a lady named Catherine Bell Moore who said she was a targeted individual in Wilmington, North Carolina, and she exposed, I guess, the child sex trafficking and became targeted. But I don't know what's going on with her, if she's still alive or anything like that. And some people from Louisiana, I guess from New Orleans, I saw videos about them being targeted. And so I did research in 2016 a lot about targeted individuals and gang stalking and stuff. Like I was actually see the videos, but I couldn't connect, but I don't and I do remember in 2016 a lot researching directed energy weapons and electronic weapons and their effects. But of course, I'm not a know-it-all. But I'm sitting here trying to research what's going on with me. And so I couldn't make that connection of why every time I researched my body vibrating, and then gang stalking and cults kept coming up. It kept coming, those topics, those themes kept coming up, and so anyway, in 2019, it was just before April 1st, and I had my final confirmation of that, oh shit, I truly am a targeted individual. And so then I started to be like super active on YouTube, super active and super vocal. And then this person who's not a targeted individual, she was a famous YouTuber named Mary Jane Byarm. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. And she a young kid, not child, but very young adult who would travel the world. Or she was living in China or somewhere, and she was encouraging people to go ahead and make a YouTube channel. And I was trying to figure out what to do to make a living, because in my hometown, New Orleans, I was trying to figure out what to do to make a living, because I was homeless on the streets and at wit's end that I couldn't really find a job. And so even with the place to live, when I had Section 8 housing, I was pulling my hair out mentally about not being able to find a job, or the fact that nobody wanted to hire me and stuff like that. And so I was, I don't even consider that lucky, but I had a couple of temp service jobs here and there, and they ended up stopped me from working. It was like they covertly fired me from shift gig, and then on the app, they weren't even showing me any more job opportunities. And then I was homeless on the streets and severely sleep deprived. And one time I had to go to the emergency room because, it was affecting my heart and my legs. And I had me going a whole month without being able to lay down anywhere. So my legs would swell up, and then those narcissistic females in New Orleans The narcissistic women would try to make it like it's my fault that my body is all swollen up. And then they would try to bully, harass, and lecture me about how the fluid will travel to my heart and kill me. Like as if they were counting on me to die. Like as if I deserve it. So, I've had workplace mobbing, even in workplace bullying, even with temp jobs with complete strangers who I never saw before. And so, and I mean, it angers me to even think back about Remedy Intelligence Staffing and that John Presgrove guy. He's not even from New Orleans, and he tried to make it like he wanted to make sure I get permanently banned from the convention center. And at Global Staffing Solutions, those bastards robbed me of, and Tommy's Cuisine in New Orleans, they robbed me of my last paycheck over there. It was $45. And so and it's like they don't even care. It's like, but they were all narcissistic perps over there too. And so it was torture, that trying to struggle to survive. I was forced to work sinful worldly jobs, like working the Pelicans basketball games or the Texas Longhorns in the Super Bowl. I mean, that Sugar Bowl, no, or something, whatever bowl that is, Rose Bowl, Sugar Bowl, something for New Year's, not Super Bowl. But the Texas Longhorns, everybody throwing up the devil horns hand sign, and so then it's like to try to work concessions, and you're not allowed to use the bathroom. You're forced to work 12 hours or so, not allowed to use the bathroom, and then you're not allowed to eat, and they treat you like a punished slave. And and the employees at the games were treated like criminals. So I even worked for this company, a temp service, I guess, called Juma Ventures, and I didn't stay there for long either. And I think, I was just going through so much, and I've worked at the zoo and everything. They were all, every single last one of them motherfuckers. They were, I mean, with the third party job that I worked at the zoo, I missed the doggone chocolate covered frozen bananas in the Haagen-Dazs location inside the zoo, but the aquarium had more flavors. But I missed the peanut covered, chocolate covered frozen bananas. I think that's the only one I like. I didn't really like the plain one, and I didn't like the confetti sprinkles, and I didn't like the coconut one. But the peanut butter one, I mean the peanut one, the one with the peanuts on it, I love that. And it wasn't really unhealthy either, but it was very hard to try to find. Maybe, I guess, a person could make their own chocolate covered frozen bananas with some peanut coating on it. Yeah. So anyway, when I was working at the zoo, I had a place to live. I wasn't homeless. But it's like, due to the workplace mobbing, at the zoo. I quit my job and then, you know, gave up the place to that Section 8 place because the gang stalking was too unbearable. So, and I was fearing for my life. The neighbors, had me feel threatened, and and then dealing with the vibrating on top of that also. So I ended up homeless and thought that a cab driving job would save me, but they gang stalked me there too, and I didn't realize the full picture of what was going on. And they kept me sleep deprived on purpose so I couldn't drive. And they were extra rude, and all of them were perps, even with the cab company. And some of them hated me and was rude for no reason. And and so then, you know, I thought could have had it easy. And I would be like, well, why is it every time I try to get a vehicle to drive, whether it be a cab driving job for work or try to survive or to rent a car, it's like they would sleep deprive me extra the night before. Like when I was trying to drive for the cab company in 2017, they gave me the cab, and then I was taken advantage of, and then they kept me chronically sleep deprived. And God must have been protecting me and watching over me because luckily I didn't have really much of any accidents. So but dealing with the sleep deprivation, I actually I mean twice, 2 days in a row, I accidentally made a wrong turn, and driving over bridges while sleep deprived. But due to the gang stalking, it's like they try to prevent you from accomplishing certain things. But had I not been sleep deprived, then I could have done successfully. But if I would have tried to rent a car or something, they sleep deprived me extra the day before. Um, I mean, that's diabolical and evil. So they want to make sure that I'm never, equipped to drive, and it's not my fault. It's what they're doing. And then, certain fake Christian, narcissistic, control freak, fake TI perps, they would do stuff like try to say that, well, that God is the one who planned all this for you or whatever. And it's like they, try to be discouraging, trying to use God to try to, you know, they exploit the idea of using God to try to discourage me, you know. But it's more than just driving that you can't do when you're sleep deprived. Like I can't even mentally focus, or I can't my mind can't operate or process properly for me to just write. I couldn't even dive on a diving board. Um, dive on the diving board at the pool. I had to stop doing that. And so diving on the diving board at the pool, I had to stop doing that. I can't cook food while I mean, I'm talking about when I had a permanent place to live and was cooking or baking. I couldn't. It was difficult to cook food on a stove, or I was afraid that if I were to try to go to sleep, I'm sorry, if I were to try to bake chicken for 45 minutes to an hour, um, it would be difficult to try to stay awake. But then again, at the same time, if I voluntarily go lay down and try to go to sleep, then I'm just laying there and up. And so, I heard that this is a lot to do with the remote neural monitoring and stuff like that. It really seems like a movie in real life what you're going through, but you got your own physical, real life feelings involved with this movie that you forced to experience. You know, but being sleep deprived, I couldn't even hold a baby because of fear of, you know, my body would feel extra weak. And so, fear that, I don't have any babies to hold anyway, but fear that the baby might fall out of my hand, or accidentally dropping the baby. I'm sitting here thinking like an infant, like 10 months old or something. But, it's very hard to even function, even simple things. Like, I'd be afraid that if I try to go take a bath while sleep deprived, then, having fears that I might doze off and fall asleep and drown in the tub. But then if I try to go lay in the bed, I'm just laying there all day or laying there all night hoping that I can get me some sleep and just no sleep. And so this is very torturous and make me feel like I'm about to die. Make me feel like I'm about to die. So, back in 2019, I had the first PsychWorld channel, and I was posting like a lot of videos every day. And, but yeah, as I said, in 2000, and I think I was watching a lot of YouTube videos in 2016, but I wasn't making any. But it's like, well, wow, I kept on feeling false hopes, trying to look on websites like the Penny Hoarder and the moneypantry.com and thepennyhoarder.com and Rat Race Rebellion, and just feeling false hopes with everything. And still, but no matter what, even if I were to try something, it's like I'm being hindered. If people say, well, you can make a blog and monetize it, well, the perps hinder that. They hinder if I were to try to make a YouTube channel and monetize it, they will hinder that too, because they'll make sure I'm suppressed and make sure that their smear campaigns will cause people to not want to support me. But despite everybody ignoring me, I still write my short stories and still blog anyway. I said, well, I'm mainly doing it for me, but if you're interested, then I appreciate whatever support that you offer. If you like my short stories, because the perps want to make it to where I'm not allowed to have anyone to like my short stories or nothing. And so, anyway, I'm still having the vertigo. And so I just turned on my left, because I was laying on my back and talking. And so now I just turned on my left side. and the vertigo caught me off guard. So I've been having the vertigo also. But I noticed my ankle swelling too. But it's like sleep deprivation make you hungrier and cranky and more fearful. It's like you're cranky and irritable and moody, have mood swings, and you're more irritable and you're more fearful and scared of everything, like heightened sense of everything, extra hypersensitive to everything, and my ankles will swell up more. Like when I would be homeless on the streets, I would go days of being sleep deprived, and then all this fluid retention gain, and then I finally get to fall asleep, and then I'm pissing like a horse with all the fluid that I can feel the fluid trickling down my heart and releasing downward, releasing from my heart as I pee. And then to have gastroparesis when being sleep deprived was delayed stomach emptying. Gastroparesis is delayed stomach emptying. And then like it wasn't until 2017, the first time in my life, that I would feel food, physically feel the food sitting in my stomach. Before then, I never in my life had that happen before. And then, having severe acid reflux at that time also. But I'm glad I don't really have much. I mean, I had it really bad. And so it seemed like in 2017, I had just got there in Jefferson, Louisiana, in my place, with the Section 8 in New Orleans, my hometown. And I had just got there, and they were trying to kill me with the energy weapons already. And I didn't know who it was doing it. So at first I thought it was biological family members doing voodoo on me or witchcraft or something. But I didn't realize it could have been the next door crackhead neighbors, the fake crusty crackhead neighbors next door. It could have been them torturing me with the direct energy weapons, or it could have been contractors, or Freemasons or whoever else, torturing me and make sure I'm chronically going days of no sleep. And that was the second time in 2017 that I chronically went 18 days of no sleep. And during that period of time was the time of me trying to be a cab driver. And that ate up all my money. And I ended up broke and having to beg, temporarily though, but asking for 75 cents for bus fare and get shunned for it. And but I couldn't get a job anywhere. And so but yeah, I mean, it's very difficult, this battle every day and this fight every day to survive. And now I feel like I just want to escape. Like I just want to escape mentally, or just I wish I mean, if I can just for the next couple of weeks that I stay here, that if I can just sleep my pain away for a couple of weeks or something, but they're keeping me sleep deprived, so I can't I'm just I'm depressed about all the gang stalking, all the betrayal, the narcissistic abuse, and I'm depressed and scared about the future with the war and food shortages inflation, the new world order. It's like they're putting everything in high gear and working faster. And so, me being fearful and scared, I know this is Bible prophecy and this must come to pass, and we're not supposed to be scared, but I really am scared. And, I guess I'm not mentally ready or spiritually ready. And I feel like a Christian failure. I feel like a biblical and spiritual failure. Like as if I know I'm not good enough to go to heaven, to deserve heaven. And I just, and also me being sleep deprived will increase my unwanted intrusive thoughts and make them harder to control also. And sometimes trying to eat healthier or eating nutritious food, sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. They'll still overpower. But I heard that they cause sleep deprivation by using the directed energy weapons to leach your body of magnesium. But then you take a magnesium supplement and still can't sleep. And then if you take the bentonite clay or magnesium supplement and then your blood pressure is kind of low, and that's scary too. And it's like sometimes I remember in 2019 when I was homeless on the streets and trying to work the temp service job, like with shift gig and stuff, and I was eating high sugar and eating heavy sugar, being depressed and on the streets, and then my blood sugar would still be somewhat low. I think as a result of taking magnesium plus the bentonite clay, blood sugar and blood pressure kind of on that low side. And it's like, how was that possible? But, I was really scared, and then I didn't realize that I was kind of sleep deprived in 2017 in February when I drove, through the Blue Ridge Mountains. And wow, I miraculously survived that because they had narcissistic perps who were acting like as if they were trying to deliberately they were trying to cause me to fall off a cliff. And then when I was at the Grand Canyon and walking, they try to manipulate for me to fall off a cliff. And I'm like, even before I realized it was due to the gang stalking, I'm like, this is so evil. Why do people, complete strangers, feel the need to try to, I think they were trying to manipulate and maneuver to try to set me up to fall off a cliff at the Grand Canyon. And nobody would have cared, not even my family would have been concerned or asked, because I haven't contacted my family in 3 years, and none of them are questioning, well, what's going on with Kent? None of them are really, it's like they're not even concerned. But the biological sister, that retard Ramona, was pretending to fake, over exaggerate and freak out that she hadn't heard from Wyatt in a long time. And then she's like, Wyatt, don't you ever do that again. And she's like, people, he knows that people, they got people that care about him. And I'm just sitting there listening. And it's like, but ain't nobody if I'm out of state, a female out of state by myself, and the family, they can care less about what it's like they can care less about what would go on with me. And as a result of their abuse and them treating me the way they treat me, that's why I be saying, this mentally slow, crazy biological family, or I'll be like that retard Ramona, or or whatever nicknames I got for everybody after the abuse, and just torment and suffering, and set up for destruction, and they have a cold heart towards me. It's like their hearts are super de duper hardened towards me. They, and it's like Ramona, she would rather protect the brothers in the family, but you know, you're not even going to be protective of your sister. It's like I'm a nobody to them, and but if Wednesday coming up, if I would have been in her presence, she would have pretended to be fake nice to have her hand out for my entire tax refund check, and then bully me out of the tax refund check, and then go gamble it all up in less than 5 minutes, and then be broke, and then aggressively demand more money when I don't have any. Then she picks an argument, and then I'm kicked out, and but my family members, they're so dirty that they'll smile in your face and rob you out of your money, and then even when you think you're on good terms with them, they're still slandering you and smear campaigning and lying on you behind your back and stuff like that. But me talking about Ramona, what I'm saying is facts, truth. It's not smear campaign. It's like everybody knows she's a damn gambling addict, but she still get respect out of the family. And it seems like she used to take advantage of whoever she can, and I'm not really her only victim. But family members, what they do is with each other, and also people on the streets or friends or whatever. Family, friends, and acquaintances, if they get into an argument or an all-out fist fight with another family member, and then 5 minutes later it's like they love each other like as if nothing happened, but you get mad at me, and it seems for the smallest little thing, and then the hatred and grudges, it's like eternal. It's like they don't just it's not like they just mad at me, but it's like they want me to just not exist. They want me to not exist at all. So before I go, I just wanted to say that wickedness and evil is like a contagious disease. Don't catch it.